This recording was inspired by Hindemith's 1939 sonata for viola and piano. This piece was completely different. From the beginning to the end, there's so much tension and so much passion and just excitement and anger and sweetness and sorrowful, and you name it, you've got it in this piece. So I immediately fell in love with it. It gives viola such a different role in performance. And I was wondering, as a viola player himself, what made him write a piece like this, and why is it named 1939? And that made me research for music that was written during the same time. One of the pieces I found while I was in a store in Munich is the Gideon Klein duo for violin and viola. Gideon Klein was a composition student at the Prague Conservatory. Germany invaded Prague in 1939. Using quarter tones in this piece, I think, creates a very dark, twisted, very uncomfortable, kind of make you feel like something is going wrong kind of feeling. I think he's using this technique to tell the audience about the society back then, and the society probably was capsized, disturbed, and probably a little bit confused because what is going to happen in the future. There are some very strong writing in this piece. The second movement sounds like the earliest punk or rock and roll music you can hear. It really just sounds like screaming. He's using every possibility he can to make this music scream what is going on. I think the audience nowadays can really understand how his life must have been completely flipped. The violinist who recorded this piece with me is Ben Bowman. He was my schoolmate at the Curtis Institute of Music. I've always enjoyed his performance, and I find him extremely expressive. And so when this recording project came about and when I was looking for someone to play, he was the first choice. He's so imaginative and very inspiring. I wouldn't have done this without him. The other artist on this album is Mengqie Liu. He was my coach at Curtis, and he has been one of the biggest inspiration of my musical life and my path. When we were collecting pieces, we were still one piece short. Mengqie suggested I should look into songs, art songs, because there were a lot of songs written during that time. And Victor Woman's name came into the picture, and then learned about his life. He was also living in Prague, but he tried to get out of Prague and he was unsuccessful. Because of the anti-Jewish law back then, he couldn't work, even though he wrote all of his life even during that time, but knowing that his work will never be performed, he just poured his heart out into his music. Mengqie arranged the songs for viola and piano, and he tried his best to keep the flavor of the text. Even without the text, I think you can hear in the music the power and the passion and the desire of Victor Woman. Mengqie made sure that the viola arrangement is viola friendly, and when I say viola friendly, I don't mean that it's easy. I mean he tried to portray the viola the every possible way you can imagine. So it actually was very, very difficult, and I'm thankful for that. I can do all sorts of different kind of expressions. I'm very thankful to him. The Chinese piece recorded on this album is called 二泉音乐, and it's called English translation is the moon reflected on 二泉. 二泉 is basically a spring. And this piece was written by a Chinese composer, Hua Yanjun, and his nickname is Abing. He was born a Taoism monk, and he studied Taoism music and played every kind of Chinese instruments. His music was known to us because a professor from the Central Conservatory heard about his music and went to his hometown Wuxi to record his pieces. During this recording session, 6 pieces, including the moon reflected on 二泉, were archived, and they were planning for more recording the next year. Unfortunately, he died that winter, so we only know the 6 pieces that was recorded. Mr. Wang Yanqiao was the person responsible for the viola edition of this piece. A few years ago, I was talking to him about doing some Chinese pieces, and he suggested, I think this will be a good piece on the viola. So we started working on it, and the erhu's bow is basically attached between erhu's 2 strings, and there are no fingerboard. This setup gives erhu a lot of possibility for expressiveness. So we experimented quite a bit, and I think this arrangement does show quite a bit of characteristic of the erhu. I also have visited his hometown Wuxi and listened to their dialect, and saw the beautiful sceneries there. And their way of living is quite different than how we live in other cities. So that helped me perform the piece.